This presentation is about HDR, panoramic, and wide angle images for this assignment, and I'm also calling these scapes, meaning landscapes, seascapes, cityscapes, and there can be people included in these as well. And I just want to show you some different examples. I'm going to show you how to do these processes in the next video. This is just for inspiration. HDR images refer to high dynamic range, which basically means a larger tonal range than what the camera can normally see using just one correct normal exposure. What you do is you end up bracketing either 3 to 5 different exposures of one scene, and you combine using the software, you combine all the 5 shots together to get this incredible tonal range and definition. So essentially you get definitions in your shadows and definitions in your highlights. Typically it's an easy process to do with the subject matter of landscapes because it's not moving and you have time to experiment with your exposures and things like that. I will tell you also, most of these are done in this kind of the golden hour of shooting landscape. So when the light is more dramatic, definitely renders the more dramatic impact. And so if you think about typically looking from inside of a shaded cave like this, it would typically be very dark, even with a little bit of light bouncing into the interior. But here we can see details from inside all the way outside and into the moon. Wonderful colors here. Even something that is not really a landscape, people are using, and I think this is kind of creative way of using HDR. Here you see an example of the same image of what it would look like with just one single shot, and the other one using HDR, which is a combination of multiple exposures. And so here's another example. And you can set your camera. You'll have to look at your manual in order to find out exactly how to do this, but you should be able to set it at least to take 3 shots. The newer cameras can set to take 5. The older ones, you'll have to manually take the 5 shots. One normal, one shot at normal, one at 1 stop under, then 2 stops under, then 1 stop over, 2 stops over, and that will give you the good range of exposures to combine. Now there is a thing of pushing it a little too far, and that's when you start to see a halo and the subject matter almost becomes posterized, like it starts to not look like a photograph anymore. You can see a little bit of a halo around this car. You know, where it's going lighter because the pixels are just kind of pulled too far and it's a little too intense. Sometimes people like that look. This one is kind of teetering on that border. You know, this one again too, if you look, really there's like a halo around the whole building. I tend to kind of notice those really easily, and I feel like that's when they've gone too far. But if you like the style, you know, see if you can make that work. Now, panoramic is a way of a camera showing us a wide view without distorting the look. And a lot of us have this in-camera feature. What I would like for you to do is go ahead and take one with the in-camera panoramic setting, and then take a photograph, take several photographs of one scene. And again, I will describe how to do that in the video before. But if you just think of the idea of each frame should overlap the next frame by 1/3 of what's in the first frame, right? Because what you're going to be doing is layering and kind of laying these out. And if you shoot vertically, then you get a taller image and they become a little bit more visually interesting. Sometimes really, if it's too long and skinny, it's hard to see all of the details. So we want to gain some height by shooting vertically. And when we shoot in our in-camera option, we usually always shoot horizontally. So just take a look at that, and I'll show you how to merge the the ones you're shooting separately and vertically in the next video. You know, I think we live in an area that's nice and flat, and we can really see wide open spaces. And there are some things that change when you're doing panoramic, like all of a sudden, you know, you can play with more centered compositions, or here it's just kind of very slightly off-centered, and really it's kind of the height of these weeds that are kind of helping the balance. But the long strand of clouds here in the sky is a wonderful design element too that this person picked up on. And I love images during the storm. They're just really kind of cool. And I love this. There's something, you know, really enjoyable about that one person, that diehard person that's going to go to the beach no matter what the season. So here's an unexpected kind of wide angle on a corner. Yeah, love the graffiti. This place is covered. This one was taken with the cell phone, and you can go ahead and play with your cell phone. It may allow you to shoot in lower light situations a little bit easier than your camera will. And I don't have a problem with that. Again, try, you know, make sure you're getting a vertical or tall image that will help us see more of the space. This is one with a cell phone, and we're actually seeing more of a 180 view, right? And so we're seeing a railroad card, which are straight. This is one end, and this is the other, but they have bent the view by showing us more than 180. We're kind of seeing behind us. Yeah, really kind of cool though. Okay, so the next artist and style that I'm going to introduce you to is David Hilliard. He does wide angle separate images. And I will walk you through how to create something like this in the next video. So David Hilliard photographs his family and his life, but each image is a separate thing. He's not using Photoshop to blend these together. He's using a large format camera, in fact, and film. But I think we can do this very easily also with a digital camera. So yeah. So this is the hand of this man who's right here. And the photographer is kind of hidden behind him, which is right here. Right? They don't have to be completely perfectly lined up, as long as the scene kind of makes sense. If you follow down, you know, these lines, they obviously, you know, kind of bend in awkward places, but it still works. We get a sense of what's going on. It's also interesting how, you know, I asked myself, like, do these stand alone? Are these images that are able to stand alone without the others, or they need each other to complete an idea? And I think truly they are stronger together than the individual parts. Here he's even changed the depth of field in this one. Yes, those are the rollers we used to use. This one outside in, looking in on his father. And brilliant. This is kind of a smart way of doing landscapes, and you obviously including people. It's very difficult to do, and so you may have to try several different ways of doing it. And the way and I'm not in my video, my images aren't perfect, but each time I go back to reshoot, I kind of have more information so that I can do it better each time. They are stronger together and they need each other. He did a great job here of keeping their horizon line the same or really close to the same. All right, so I hope you get some inspiration. Go to the next video to see how you can put these together.